Hello YouTube and Patreon, this is Nathan P. Butler, and this is our project update for the month of April 2021. Decently busy month, I guess. Decent amount of stuff out, some progress going on with the book and everything, so we'll dive into that. First, let me thank all of you who are backers over there on my Patreon. Again, that is patreon.com/NathanPButler. Just to give you a sense here of how the Patreon sort of matters in the life cycle of these projects and everything. Just recently I was made aware of a misconception that I had about a particular Star Wars home video item, that it turned out there was sort of two different versions of, not just one, and it was a distinction that made a pretty big difference in terms of what those items actually were. So I went and hunted them down, and I need to get a copy of it for the book, to get the pictures on it, etc., etc. So kind of in a rush to try to get it. There's only one of these items on eBay at the time. I managed to get my hands on it. Wound up running me about $250 for that one item. Actually, technically it's a pair of items. It was both of that version, I'm talking about the 1992 Fox Video special widescreen edition US release of A New Hope. The Technodisc and the Mitsubishi versions, which I'll talk about in a future episode, they were both in one auction. I was able to get it. I put in an offer. The offer was sort of given a counter offer and accepted, still less than the original asking price, but $250 dropped on those items. And right now, a little bit of a time when, we're kind of dealing with, medical stuff that my wife's going through, sort of the things for her wrist and everything, like laser treatments and stuff that the insurance covers some of, but not all of. And the fact that we're trying to clear out some old credit card bills that were used to take care of medical expenses for other people in the family who weren't insured at the time, where we stepped in and tried to sort of save the day, and now we're sort of digging ourselves from that. So that was $250 I wasn't really happy to spend, but felt like needed to be spent for the book. But the whole point of the Patreon, the whole point of the YouTube ads running on the videos is to try to defray some of that cost. So what happened? Kind of perfect synergy. Basically, the Patreon funds that are coming in at the beginning of May and the last YouTube ads payment that tends to only come every few months because it's only set to do it once it crosses the $100 threshold, basically wound up being exactly enough to cover the cost of that item. So it didn't have to come out of pocket. It didn't have to come out of our budget. That is why the Patreon, in a sense, exists, to try to make sure that no matter what's going on with us, real world-wise, there's still some funding there set aside specifically to try to keep these projects going, whether it's the book or from the Star Wars Home Video Library here on YouTube or whatever it might be. So my thanks to all of you who are backers over there on Patreon. Again, patreon.com/NathanPButler. And let me thank all of you who are folks who are over there by name, as I am wont to do in these videos. So first we start with the travelers through the Butlerverse. These are the folks who have that $1 tier, who get their name in the thanks when I say it out loud here as sort of a bonus, but the actual tier is to have the name in the credits of these episodes, and then also get that Patreon credits thanks page at the beginning of each of the 3 volumes now of A Saga on Home Video's 2nd edition that'll be coming soon. So this is Bon Linez and Travis Cook, Caleb Owens, Justin Richard, Preston Ellis, Jeremy Goss, Ben Abrams, Michael Torson, Jacob Kapoor, Tony Jenkins, Kevin Kreiner, Austin Pierce, and Chris Walker. And yes, that stutter was me making sure that I had said Bon Linez correctly, which I believe I did. That then brings us to the denizens of the Butlerverse, which is that $5 tier. These are the folks who get what the first tier got, but also get access to those 2 audio commentaries per month, at least 2, that I put together and put up on Patreon, primarily right now for the Clone Wars. I've also done the ones for all of the 4 volumes of Forces of Destiny, and eventually we'll get into other stuff. But that tier of folks who get those audio commentaries as well include Alexander Santos, Matt DeRochers, Daniel Marchant, Travis Taylor, Andrew Gilbertson, Walker Langstrat, Jeff Ellis, Joey Zitzman, Stephen Malicia, Robert Medina, Bobby Craig, Jeremiah Mustard, and Jason Hunt. And then, of course, we have the nobility of the Butlerverse, the folks who get all that those other 2 tiers got, but also get access to that exclusive Q&A video every single month, where they get to be the ones to ask the questions, and then I answer those questions in some detail on a video each month. They range quite a bit in terms of the topics that get covered. It tends to be a little bit more of a laid back, I guess you could say, atmosphere relative to something in one of these videos going out to everybody, because it's sort of just for that core group who in some cases I know a little bit, some cases not, to kind of get a sense of, what kind of stuff they're interested in just based on the questions that they've asked before. So the nobility include Joe Belite, Connor Steierman, Jeff Rabjohns, Matthew Hardesty, Kyle Pellegrini, Innes, Jonathan Comfer, Sam Howard, Andrew Bettis, and Benjamin Handelman. That again is the $10 tier. I don't think I mentioned the actual amount a moment ago. So for those of you who have been following on Patreon, what new content have you gotten since the last of these updates? Well, the last update went up on March 20th. So on April 1st, we had a new commentary that was for the Clone Wars episode Massacre, the first of the episodes in the 4-episode arc that ends Season 4. Then that was followed up on April 15th by Bounty. Right, so each month, there's one on the 1st, one on the 15th typically. That does mean, kind of looking ahead, that May is basically the Darth Maul kind of month here. On May 1st, we're going to have Brothers get a commentary. On May 15th, it'll be Revenge. That'll finish out Season 4. Then June 1st, it'll be A War on Two Fronts, kicking off Season 5 with the Onderon arc. June 15th, Frontrunners. July 1st, The Soft War. And then July 15th, Tipping Point. I do have all the Onderon arc episodes commentaries recorded and edited and scheduled to go up. I have recorded all 4 of the commentaries now for the Young Jedi arc that follows that. That'll take us through August and September. I have some notes for the one after that, the god-awful droids arc from Season 5, but I haven't got all my notes ready to go, so I'm not quite ready to record that yet. I imagine that will probably be recorded, plus more, from Season 5 by the time we get to the point where I'm putting up another of these project update videos. And then, of course, for the Nobility of the Butler universe, there was also that Q&A video that was released on April 3rd this time around. Tends to range anywhere from the first few days of a month to about a little over a week into the month. It really depends on when the weekends are for me to record, but also sometimes there are time-sensitive questions. Like, I would not be surprised at all if there was a question for the May Q&A dropped into the April collection thread where I get those questions for May, asking me what I thought about the premiere episode of The Bad Batch, which won't even be airing until May 4th, which will help dictate when exactly I record that, which is fine, typically. If you are a member of the Nobility of the Butler universe, make sure you drop over there onto the April collection thread to drop in any questions you might want to see answered in the May video. Speaking of those little mentions, by the way, I'd like to think that anyone who's in any of those 3 tiers over there on Patreon, that they kind of get something out of being able to see themselves thanked on these episodes, see themselves in the credits for the thanks at the end of these episodes, these project updates, but also will get something out of seeing their name in print in all 3 of the 2nd edition volumes of A Saga on home video. I'm someone who kind of likes that kind of thing too. I've been fortunate to wind up being Tuckerized with the character Chrono Relt in Jeremy Barlow's first Star Wars comic back with Empire, What Sin, Loyalty, although it was a name in the script, not in the book itself. Seeing my name in print, when people have referenced my Star Wars Timeline Gold, that is now, of course, retired, back in the day with things like the New Essential Guide to Characters or the Essential Reader's Companion for Star Wars. I've actually got, I am in, I think, some of the thanks pages for some of the Savage Realms game books. I have a thanks on the back of the rule book, the print rule book, for Ruin's Deathbinder, which is a game, it's a board game, deck building game in reverse. I think my name's among the Kickstarter backers inside the Maquis first edition solo game box and everything. I just like that kind of stuff. I enjoy getting to kind of have a little dip in something that I really enjoy. My son is name-checked as a Cade the Horse Lord in the Shadows of Kilforth game, and just recently, something kind of cool, I now appear in the card game that I really enjoy called Master of Wills. I've got videos on the channel about Master of Wills. I am now a member of the government faction here. I am the so-called Disposability Rater. Let me see if I can tap to focus a little bit more there. Kinda. So yeah, I'm actually in the game now. The Disposability Rater, we were kind of coming up with concepts for characters as they were figuring out which one I was going to be within the game. The funny thing is this is essentially a real, quote-unquote, in the cyberpunk universe of Master of Wills version of what is kind of the boogeyman of the Obamacare debate, the death panels, right? A disposability rater is someone who's basically going to see the value of individual members of society and decide, who gets what, who gets to live, who gets to die, perhaps, when it comes to the society's resources. And the game is Master of Wills. This is the special case they put together for one of the original factions. But yeah, I thought that was kind of fun. So I wanted to mention that, thought that was kind of cool, and something I'm going to try to do, something some folks have kind of noticed in the past. In the background here, I can't really do anything about the fact, as my chair creaks, about this gate, right? Right now, that is the gate to protect my stuff from a toddler. Eventually, I'd like to get like maybe a folding screen or something. I can just sit up against all of it, fold and take down, and not have to worry about having that baby gate there. I haven't found anything like that yet. It's going to be something I'm going to have to order online because I don't even know if something that tall would fit in my car, even if I did take out the child seat and somehow got a chance to go get it without him with me. But suffice to say, looking for something like that, and I noticed that typically there's a white, kind of cylinder sitting here. It's paper towels, so that I can have easy access to paper towels by reaching over my boards when I have the boards there in case he makes a mess. So I finally moved those so they're not, obscuring part of the background anymore. And it strikes me that my shelf down here, which is basically Star Wars books I haven't got to reading yet, or the various dust jackets of the books that I am in the process of reading, all kind of dumped onto that shelf. Just doesn't look as good as part of the background as all the other shelves. So what I'm thinking is I'm probably going to move some stuff around. Like I might move the Trivial Pursuit DVD stuff over there and put something else here. Like to maybe just take stuff from some of my home video shelves over on this side and put them over here somehow. Kind of shift things around so it looks a little nicer with that little side hole there. All right, so that all said, what else new has come out since the last of these videos? Well, primarily it's been stuff coming out through YouTube as usual. So we had a lot of new episodes from the Star Wars Home Video Library. Got a bunch of them recorded at once. That's what I'm tending to do, is try to do these like rapid fire sessions of recording and then slowly but surely get them edited and out. I recently did one of those rapid fire recordings. Only about half of those, maybe a little more than half of those episodes are edited and out. So you'll be seeing more from that session in the relatively near future. I also will probably record an episode as soon as I'm done with this to show some weird Star Tours glasses as a supplement to the episode that I did on the 3D glasses, the Real D 3D glasses recently. But speaking of which, that is one of the newer ones since the last update. So what have we had? Let's see. We had from the Star Wars Home Video Library, episode number 385, which was the Italian The Last Jedi Steelbook to show one that had the faces on the spine. Episode 386 looked at a display box from the VHS release to kind of help promote the VHS release of The Phantom Menace in the UK on VHS. Then we had Intermission, episode 9.1, looking at more signed stuff. What wound up being a bootleg, a recreation, signed by Daisy Ridley, plus one thing signed by Billy D. Williams, another signed by Mark Hamill, another signed by Tom Kane and Sam Witwer. I almost said Steve Witwer. Sam Witwer. Then we had episode 130.1, which is another look at the UK trilogy steelbooks, this time with their O-rings or their little cardboard cards to go with them. Then we had intermission number 13, where we looked at all the different 3D glasses, the Real D 3D glasses from CDM Company, I think it's CDM, and from Look 3D for basically all the films that ever got a 3D release, so all the live-action films that got special glasses for their 3D release, which meant Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and then the Disney films up through Last Jedi, but none beyond that point. We also looked at a special Lucasfilm internal set. We had episode 387, taking a look at a French 1994 Collector's Edition Laserdisc set. 388, which looked at two different variants of Return of the Jedi's 1992 full-screen Laserdisc release, where one of the packages had silver as the logo, one had white. We took a look at, in episode 389, at a Mexican 2008 tin for the original trilogy on DVD. 390, we looked at a Mexican beta trilogy from 1995. In episode 391, we looked at Season 6 of The Clone Wars finally getting a release on Blu-ray and DVD in the UK. 392 was three new, or relatively new Spaceballs releases, a DVD release put out through Warner Brothers Home Entertainment, and then the two from Kino Lorber recently. 393, we took a look at Clone Wars Volume 2's screener disc, no packaging, just the disc. And then 394, we looked at the Clone Wars 2D Micro Series DVDs from the UK. Yes, this does mean we're getting very close to episode number 400, not counting all the many supplementals. I mean, hell, there were intermissions there, there were supplementals there. There's 3 of those that didn't count in the regular numbering, just in the stuff since the last of these updates. But we're getting close to number 400. I do not know if I'm going to do anything special for 400. I don't have any plans to do anything special, but what I'll probably do is figure out where the current batch that I've already recorded but not edited ends. And if it isn't quite at 400 yet, I'll figure out how many are left to hit 400, and maybe in the next pile of stuff that I do, I'll just pick kind of the coolest of the things from that pile to do for 400, if we haven't already reached 400 with the stuff that I've already recorded. As for a Saga on Home Video, the book, right? I would say, first of all, if you're kind of curious about what to expect from the second edition, I did finally, after I think 1 day or something like that, shy of a year, actually get on my website and do a new article about it. So nathanpbutler.com/asaga-on-home-video.com/StarWarsFanWorks.com. They all go to the same place now. There's now an article about what to expect from the second edition, kind of where things stand with that. But you may recall that in these last couple of episodes, I showed you a binder with a printed out copy of the working files for all 3 volumes that I was slowly working my way through. And as I would work my way through it and get everything done from a particular page, I would remove the page. If it was something that still needed to be done, I would make a note of it on a file and then remove the page. Well, this is where things stand with that now. Okay, don't get your hopes up. Doesn't mean the book is done. What it means is that entire last run that I've been doing for a while is done. So what's happening now, basically, is that I have a printout here of basically pictures I need to retake, what dimensions I need to get. There's one set of stuff I need to pull down and take some measurements of, and whatnot here. And then I have kind of a last page of just old stuff I made notes on that I don't know is in my current notes or not, so I hung on to it. And then I've got just a couple of pages here of stuff that is listed on there as things that I need to add or tweak, like changing all the episode titles where I mentioned something like Destroy Malevolence into quotation marks, not italics. Making sure that I have talked about all the disc labels, including Laserdisc and so forth. Making sure that I do say CDM Company as the source of those Look 3D Real D glasses. A question mark here of whether to add yet another new sidebar looking at Easter eggs on the DVDs and whatnot. And then stuff like get more details for sculpting and dressing a galaxy. Detail the bonus features for the 4K reissues in the black packaging. Let's see. Were the lightsabers with DVDs exclusive to anywhere other than the ones marked as exclusive to Walmart? Was the German LEGO Star Wars one-shot of the missing episode for Yoda Chronicles, was it PAL? Just little stuff to either check or to add. And my hope is to get through most of this list and most of the very few pictures remaining listed here. Get all those into the files prior to the next time I do a printout. Because I'm hoping that I'm only maybe 2 or 3 printouts away of the entire book, or at least of various chapters before officially being able to call some of them done. I actually think some of the chapters, once I do one more printout, will be able to be locked as completely done. But I just know that if I do another printout to do more hand editing and make more notes, and then I put this stuff in there, I'm going to want to print it again. And then once that's all checked, I'm going to want to, and has that all the fixes in, I'm going to want to print it again. So trying to minimize the number of times I'm reprinting the documents. But I'll probably look at doing another printout here probably within about a month anyway, just to kind of keep the ball rolling. And some of this stuff I feel like I need to check as I'm reading. Like, did I talk about all the labels or not? Well, let's check them off as I go. I also probably am going to take my camera on my phone and take pictures of my shelves again to, again, go through and cross off the stuff that I know I've got pictures taken of and what stuff I still need to take pictures of if I'm going to include it at all, that kind of stuff. So we're in kind of a good place with where the book stands right now. I know 2021, I don't even know how I said that. 2021 should still be a viable target. I am hoping for it to be in maybe second or third quarter of 2021, but we're already in the second quarter of 2021. So that seems unlikely. I would hope maybe for third quarter, but definitely I'm aiming for 2021. And hoping we don't have any weird surprise. Well, hoping but not hoping we don't have any weird surprises along the way, right? Like, it'd be cool for them to all of a sudden surprise us in like September with, hey, here's Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2 on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. But that would also mean if the book's not out by then yet, going back and having to sort of rework some stuff to make that work for the book. So we'll see, but a lot of good progress being made right now on the book. Like, I feel like we're in the, not the last stages, but like if I had a progress bar in my head, I would say the progress, first of all, does not move in a steady pace. Like we're talking like old school dial-up kind of progress bar, right? Where it's not like, every month is this much progress towards the target. It's more like, here's a bunch of progress, here's a little, here's a bunch, here's a little. But I would say we're probably at the point now where I'd say we're maybe about 80% done, give or take. And that last 20% will probably move a lot faster than the previous 80% did. Not just because it's a smaller chunk, but I mean just in terms of making progress of this 20%, even compared to like the last 20%, because we're at the point now where it's adding little tidbits and fixing things, not writing entire new chapters, not going through and having to take hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of pictures at a time or anything like that. We're really down to the point now where like I could probably take some pictures today, but I'm going to wait for that $250 Laserdisc thing to show up in the mail, because really all that's on my picture taking list right now is basically retakes for the most part of stuff. One of them's not even for the book. One of them just reminds me, hey, when you're doing that, grab some of the stuff that I've written and lay them out and get a nice new picture for the big part of the top of the Patreon. So good stuff with that. Got some stuff in the pipeline, of course, with the commentaries. Got some stuff in the pipeline from the Star Wars Home Video Library. So I feel like we're in a pretty solid place right now. Looking forward, we're heading into the last month of school, so it'll be very hectic. My seniors have to be done by May 6th. Everybody else has to be done by May 25th. We're also putting the final touches on a psychology course that we're designing. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts going on with work, lots of phone calls and stuff like that being done with work. Actually, once I'm done with all this stuff, if there's time, I've got some work stuff I should probably do, or at least try to do, so I don't have to get swamped with it during the week. And then summer school starts. Right, we wrap things up, and on I think the same day that we put in the final grades or verify our final grades from this semester, on the 28th, is the same day I'm training our new teachers on our platform for summer school, which starts on the 2nd. As teachers come in for training and stuff like that on the 1st also, and then kicks off on the 2nd, and then I've got 6 crazy fast weeks to get through the summer session before I actually get about 2 weeks of a respite near the end of July. But as I've said many, many, many times, it's worthwhile because the extra student pay or the summer school pay, depending on which part of the year we're talking about, is what helps us deal with expenses and helps us deal with me being able to collect stuff when it's something that goes beyond what's brought in through Patreon or the YouTube ads. So, yeah, that was a pretty good month. With that, though, I guess we'll wrap this up because I keep circling around this idea of, that was a pretty good month. Okay, great, pretty good. Now shut up. I take my cue from myself here. So thank you all for your interest. Thank you for backing over on Patreon if you have. And I will catch you in a month for another of these updates, by which hopefully I'll have a new printout. You'll have got a chance to listen to some commentaries there with Darth Maul coming back. And just keeping things steady here. So hopefully I won't go crazy with summer school by the time we speak again. Or summer school prep, I suppose. Thanks, guys.